I actually went to Cambodia and Vietnam to do a documentary about inter-country adoption, which was incredible. And I mean, ideally, I feel like you were saying, you don't want to go in and pick one child and say, right, that one's going to go to a lovely house. And it is a terrible, terrible situation, but I think it should start with, you need to register the children, you need to start at home.
What about if an agency,
yeah,
a Christian agency or any religious agency, goes in and they take 100 of the children out and bring them to the UK and begin adopting?
Why would I think there was a really great organisation called Friends, and they set up, a guy gave up his multi-million-pound job, went over and set up this place where he went and he looked for relatives. It didn't have to be the mother, the father. He'd look for aunts, grandfather, and then he'd bring them in and re-educate them to live as a family and get them in and teach them trades. And it's going to be a really, really long process, but I think you've got to start by working at their home place. I don't think you should be taking one child out or 100 children out and leaving the rest. I think it's got to be a massive effort of people going in to Haiti and saying, right, we are here to help. We're going to find whether you've got somewhere, or just find out if we get...
Can I just put you on the spot and just push it a little bit further? Do you think people who may be watching right now who might want to adopt a child from Haiti for whatever reasons they may have, just because they want to start a family, they want to help, whatever, do you think they are wrong and misguided?
No, I don't think they're wrong. I think they're honourable in their thoughts and they're very emotional. They're going to be very emotional and they want to help. I just think I would like to see more aid going into countries like that.
But
and
would you stop? Do you think Britain should make it easier for any parents watching?
It's such a difficult process because it takes years. I worked with a couple.
But you could make it. It could be made easier.
But then I also think we've got lots of children here that need a lot of help as well. So why'd you go? It's a really difficult situation.
There's a reason why adopting takes a long time, isn't it? And those reasons haven't disappeared because of this disaster. Those reasons are still there. It's about the welfare of children.
It's also about the will of government and the will of the people. And as you said, we are emotional people. Feelings are running very high. Maybe we should be joining that list of countries that are facilitating those that want to adopt. I don't know. Let's throw it open to you. It's a hideous dilemma. Kirsty, what do people think?
First, we've got Helen, and she's on line 1.
Morning, Helen.
Hello.
Overall, what do you think is the best policy?
Well, I think with children, all children need a loving home. Yeah. And I think it's about man's humanity to man. And I don't think anyone's looking at it from the child's point of view. You know, if it were my child and I was dead and my child was an orphan and it was in Haiti and it was wherever actually in this country, I'd rather it be adopted into a loving family. Now, I'm not saying it won't be without its problems, but what would you want for your child? You'd want your child to be in a loving family.
But isn't the problem, Helen, that we are talking about 10% of Haiti's population, 1 million children? Do you take them all out?
Well, I think you take as many out as you can because it's about the individual child. I know it's a country, but that country right at the moment is not a place for children. And it's to say that, you can't just take one out, you can't take one... if it was my child, I want my child to be out of there. And that's the way I look at most things. What would I want for my child? What would I want...
But then that argument would be that the next time there's mass starvation in Bangladesh, we just go in, scoop up all the children, bring them home. Wherever there's a war and children are dying and it's no place for children, we go in, scoop them up and bring them home.
Well, I can see what you're saying, and obviously you can't take all the children out from everywhere. But there's no sign that you're going to take 10% of the children out from those orphans. There are going to be a few. There's no way you can take 100, all the children out from Bangladesh or wherever. But if you can take as many as you can out, then even in this country, people aren't allowed to adopt because for ridiculous reasons. They can't. If it's a mixed race child, it has to go to a mixed race family. I just think these reasons. Children need loving parents.
Okay.
And people, if I don't care, I'm Indian, my children are brown, my sister's Indian, her children are white. I really don't care where my children would go, as long as they go to a loving family.
Okay, Helen. Strong point. Let's have another.
On line 2, we have Margaret.
Margaret, good morning.
Good morning.
It's a strong case there for adoption. Do you side with that?
Definitely not.
Okay.
Sounds like getting a puppy for Christmas. No, my daughter sponsors a child through a charity, and she pays a small sum every month which goes towards this child's food and education. Now, that child is in its own environment with its own people, and I think you should have a drive for that.
Now, Margaret, what if the political situation in Haiti descends into anarchy?
Well, it might.
And it might. And therefore, the child...
You can't possibly remove every child.
No. But should we attempt to remove some? Would you actually... If it was just a few children that were being taken out, let's just say there's 100 adults in this country that want to adopt children. Would you facilitate them if you were government now, or would you just allow the normal process to continue, which is difficult and expensive, or would you ban them from taking these children?
I think a lot more thought would have to go into that.
That's really sitting on the fence.
You can't hand out children like sweeties. You know, it's like a dog is for life. Well, so's a child.
When you say, what if the country descends into political chaos, actually, it's worth concentrating your resources on trying to prevent that from happening. You serve the whole of the population better by trying to stabilise that country than you do by taking out individual children and giving them a lovely... I'd rather the resources were there.
If we accept you can't take 1 million children out, there'll be no attempt to take 1 million children out, but there are 100 British citizens that would like to help. Should they be facilitated? Should the government make it easier for them to take 100 children out?
Well, what remains the case, under any circumstances, is that the number of people wanting to adopt babies is smaller than the number of babies that need adopting in the world. Every child that gets adopted from Haiti leaves another child somewhere without a parent. It's the same thing.
I absolutely understand that. I'm just thinking that right now, because countries like the United States and France are facilitating these parents, making it easier, facilitating this process of adoption, should we be doing the same here? Should we make it easier for people to step in? It could encourage people to...
I'm delighted for every single child that ends up with a better life because of that happening. That's fantastic, lovely. I'm really genuine, really pleasing. That's lovely. It doesn't solve the problem. And if you're looking at how do we best handle our resources to help this problem, my personal reaction would be to spend the money on trying to improve the infrastructure for all rather than individuals.
OK, Kirsty's just telling me we've got a great call coming up.
We do. She's Stella on line 3.
Stella, good morning.
Hi, a great call this might be. I think there's a problem here in a few varying different ways. Firstly, children adopted from overseas suffer greatly from being westernised, if you will, when their own culture is supposed to be cut away from underneath them. There's a bunch of Koreans campaigning in America with the same problem. Yeah. Apart from that, you've got the fact that there's already 143 million orphans worldwide. The million generated by the Haitian tragedy, and it surely is a tragedy, are really just an extra few on top of that. There is no real magic idea to get this right. I'm quite well aware of that. But be very, very aware that there's a grab-a-child bonanza with the children expected to feel lucky and grateful when, in fact, they're rather screwed up from having lost their mum so early on.
I totally understand that. I mean, I'm looking at some of the children, and I'll say again, that line of babies that was shown on the news 3 or 4 days ago, those are children that won't have any sentience, they won't be aware of what's going on, or they certainly won't have any memory of it.
There is one last thing I want to point out. There's a lovely organisation, SOS Children. They're house mothers. They're actually AIDS casualties, and the children are raised with house mothers, funded by FIFA, the football organisation. So it's football a lot more than you do. And there you are in terms of how it can work with house mothers. And they're loving, and the house is beautiful. FIFA are very generous and very, very on the case about the standard. So there's another model altogether. Lastly, it crossed my mind that if you take away children, you're taking what we've got the problem with, who will support the old people when we get old. So if you're taking away these orphan children from Haiti, and rather than leaving them there, you're going to leave Haiti with a gap in their demographic.
Indeed. Stella, thank you.